This is a real thrill for me. I'm very excited to talk to our next guest. I mean, former world champion, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving us some time. So we'll start off. Like, one of the things that you're getting involved with here, this One with Life Organic Tequila. This is a very cool thing. You guys, a bunch of boxers, kind of getting into this ownership with this brand. What led you to this? Why is this something that you have gotten into?
Well, I've had a lifestyle company now for about 10, 12 years. And I have a wine company started 2009. I have a bourbon company we started in 2016. It's doing very well. So, and trust me, I always say I'm not in the liquor business, but obviously I am. But, only the things I drink. I'm a wine guy. I'm a teetotaler. I drink my wine. But at night, when you're late at night, I have my cigar. You want a bourbon. Nice. It's a gentleman's drink. You ain't banging it down, But such as today, Cinco de Mayo, when you go to eat, you got to have, when you have a margarita, you got to have a tequila or, tequila on the rocks or whatever. So that's when it was approached to me. My kids are big tequila drinkers. That's the drink of choice of the younger generation, 20s and 30s, right? Yeah. I like it too. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. When I tasted this, though, the One with Life Organic, it was off the hook. And I said, man, I got to get involved with this. And then finding out that Larry was involved, Teofimo, Maureen, I had to be involved. And it's a fun thing. But, we're trying to give a message also. One with Life Organic, organic foods, organic drink, that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love that the boxers kind of all coming together over different generations. Maureen, a woman who trains down here, does a lot of great things down here in South Florida as well, and Teofimo's on the rise also as such a great start. So that's such a cool thing, a blending of eras.
Yeah. Well, look, Larry has been a friend of mine for years. One of the greatest top 5 heavyweights of all time. Teofimo is the face of boxing now. He's the it guy.
Yeah.
And I told him, I wished him, we raised a toast. I said, you're the it guy. Respect the sport and represent it well. Because a lot of guys don't. He seemed to be doing that. And Maureen, of course, she was the original $1 Million Baby. So there you go. I'm in a great company.
Absolutely. Now, Teofimo, his next fight is going to be down here. It's going to be down in Miami, taking on
hoping to be there.
George Kambosos. Oh man, that'd be absolutely incredible.
I'd love to be there. See it up close.
What do you think of this? What do you think of his rise? I mean, getting that win over Lomachenko and what he's done is such a fascinating thing where he's kind of branched off and kind of left his promotion to do this one-off with this renegade Triller company that everybody's with, but just this matchup in general too with Kambosos. Like, do you think that George is? Do you think that Teofimo's in line to have a huge long-time run as champion here in boxing?
Well, absolutely. The way he punches too. Look, boxing guys who can punch have long careers. Guys like Duran, right? Duran dominated that division forever because no matter when he was hurt, whatever, that one punch can end it all. Right, so Teofimo was that type of guy. He's exciting as they get. He's like a young Duran to me. So he can have a run as long as he wants, as long as he's always in shape, prepared mentally. Look, this kid like that, he's the it thing. So now he's gonna have it in Miami for all Latinos. Man, it don't get no better than that. And he was the only look. He called out Lomachenko. Nobody was calling out Loma. This guy did, and he beat him at his own game. Loma was trying to, out-slick him. He couldn't. And Teofimo kept his composure, which I was most impressed with. He kept his composure for all 12 rounds, and then the 12th round, he out-punched him. So I'm very impressed by him, but not only as a fighter, but as a person. He really seems like a good, fine young man, and I'm looking forward to getting to know him better.
I'm curious, Ray, from your standpoint, you've been a boxing analyst and a champion. With today's era of boxing, is there a thing that you're seeing as far as the game is concerned, or in boxing, are guys getting better at anything in this era? Like, I feel like we're always hearing the guys from your era talk about what it was, the wars, you guys would always fight each other. But with sports, stuff does evolve. Like with baseball, basketball, all this type of stuff. Have you seen anything in the game and the sweet science that has like, wow, we didn't have that when I was fighting back in my day. I wish I would have had this tool, this measure, this kind of method of fighting, anything that you see of this day and age?
Well, it's funny you said that. I always said every other sport, baseball, guys throwing harder, hitting harder, throwing harder, football, bigger, stronger. You got linebackers fullbacks that are as big as linebackers. Linebackers that are fullbacks now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And linemen, so things like that. Boxing is the one sport It's always been a pair of gloves, jump rope, heavy bag, speed bag. Our sport hasn't evolved as much as the others in a sense. It's the same equipment. The fighters have evolved. Better athletes now, but better fighters before, as far as I'm concerned. Meaning, back in the day, these guys fought all the time. You only learn your craft by fighting. These guys knew all the tricks. All the tricks. Even look, I never became a fighter. I wanted to become till it was at the end of my career, and I was just starting to evolve. And then, I got out. These guys are terrific athletes, but too much with the Olympic type of. You got to have different type of training methods. I get it, but some of the stuff, go back to the basics. Hard road work, hard bag work. You don't need a lot of sparring. You just need enough to stay sharp. Heavy bag and road work, gets you builds up, your builds up your lungs. Boxing is 2 phases: conditioning and sharpening. In the beginning, it's all the conditioning, heavy bag work, boxing, road work. At the end, it's sharpening, more speed bag, more hand pads. Those things seem to be lost. You got guys that are training. You got people used to say to me, "Did you have a conditioning coach?" I said, "Yes." "Did you have a strength coach?" I said, "Yes." "Did you have a nutritionist?" I said, "Yes." Also a masseur. Guess what? It was the same guy. One guy, my trainer. Because how can you get in tune with your trainer? How can he know your body if you got 3 different guys working on you? You can never know when you're ready to peak. See, peaking is a science, man. And only the trainer, the fighter are in tune with each other. You can have 3 guys training the guy. They don't know when he's going to peak at the right time. It's ridiculous, man.
Wow. Oh man, that's
Look, it's trainers. The one thing the boxing lacks now, I don't think it's so much the fighters. There are very few trainers out there. Very few. Only a couple. You can name them by hand, on one hand. Okay.
No, it's great. That's why I'm glad I asked, Ray, for sure. I was curious about this. So there's a big storyline this week. Big middleweight, super middleweight championship. Canelo Alvarez taking on Billy Joe Saunders. They're getting into a bit of a thing this week with the ring size. Billy Joe doesn't like the fact that the ring is smaller, and so right. Canelo's taking advantage. What do you make of this? Do you think this is an actual big deal? Is this head games? What do you make of it?
Well, both. It is a big deal. If you're Billy Saunders, you want it as big as you can get it. Now, ring size are usually 18, the smallest for title fights, to 22. So you generally can concede both on 20. That's usually 20 feet. But a guy like Billy Saunders, because he's going to be on his bicycle all night.
Right.
Well, he needs a bigger place to run. He ain't got nothing to hold Canelo off of. He's got nothing to offer him. You can't keep him off of him. So let me stay in there and be on the bikes as much as I can. For Canelo, he wants to make it a phone booth, but of course, get the guy out, get in, get out. Look, I admire Canelo. He's, maybe the top 2, 3 fighter in the world. And I like the fact that he's fighting every couple of months now, and Billy Joe Saunders, guy from another country, it gives an international appeal, but he got nothing to offer Canelo. So for the fight for Canelo is after this. And guys, for me, it's David Benavidez.
Yeah.
But that's a headache. Canelo don't want that fight. I should say, no, let me clarify. Canelo don't fight anybody. He's a warrior. I'm just saying his people don't want that fight. They're talking about Caleb Plant. Caleb can box, terrific fighter. But I don't think he'd keep Canelo off him either. So there's different fighters out there, but he's got some big fights coming after this.
Is there a super fight that you're most disappointed that hasn't happened? Because the one that kills me is that Terence Crawford, Errol Spence.
Absolutely, that's the one. That fight should have been made a couple years ago. Now, pandemic hit. Here's the rub on that. Now, hey, I'm a big fan of Errol, and I got to know Errol doing PBC fights. I don't know Bud Crawford. I met him, fine gentleman, terrific. Both guys at the top of the game. This is the fight to be made. But I will say this, Terence Crawford said, let's fight, make the fight. I'm so disappointed in Errol Spence calling it a 70-30, 60-40 split. My friend, Errol, what difference does no matter what do you care what he gets as long as you get yours? If the one's an A fighter, one's a B fighter, that's not a pay-per-view fight. The definition of a pay-per-view fight is 2 A fighters. Leonard, Leonard Hearns. That's the definition. This is the definition. 2 guys at the top of the game. A fighters. You split it down the middle. So there's no, I get more. No, it's a 50-50 split. What is the problem, man? Don't make it a headache that ain't got to be. when you know when a guy don't want to fight another guy, it's when he outbids himself. And I ain't saying Errol don't want to fight him, but by doing saying stupid stuff like 70-30, 60-40, that's a sure enough tell sign that you don't want to fight. I think Errol beats him. I think Errol would beat him. But you can't say that if you don't get into it with him. But Crawford's calling out Spence, and Spence is playing 70-40, 70-30, 60-40 games. Come on, man. Stop. If you want to fight, say yes. Split it down the middle, 50-50, and make the fight. That's the best fight for boxing right now.
Talking to the great Ray Boom Boom Mancini, who's brought us here One with Life organic
I'm
tequila.
exhausted already.
Man, you are on fire, and I love it.
Ray, I love the sport. I love my sport. I love the sport. I hate to see stupid stuff like this. Guys making stupid ass demands. You know, it hurts the sport, man. The sport's about making the best fight. That's the best fight to be made.
In the lead to this, is this true, Ray? You practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Like that is.
I did from 2002 to 2014.
That's
when I got my purple belt. I thought I won the world championship. But I haven't rolled for the last 6 years. Why? Because my body feels too good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, I did it for new form of workout, but mainly everybody was knowing something for the street now. And there was a lot of angry young guys out there. You're driving or cussing, you know, and a lot of road rage out there at the time. I'm back home. Look, I don't want to fight nobody for nothing. Love is in the air, baby. Love is in the air. But 9 out of 10 times in the street, you're going to the dirt. 9 out of 10 times. So I know how to stand on my feet. But if I go to the dirt, I just want to know how to fight there. Look, I'm trying to keep these guys from taking me down, and they're trying to get me down so they don't stay on the feet with me, right? So that's the chess match. But I enjoy it. Great athletes, wonderful athletes. And I helped a lot of guys with their hands who are doing MMA, you know? And they're terrific athletes. But I'm going to tell you, I advise it for anybody, for any young kid. You know, they talk about karate, let your kid do karate, let your kid do jiu-jitsu, because they make it fun, these instructors, for the young kids. But believe me, it becomes sense memory, because in the street, 9 out of 10 times you're going to the dirt. And most of these kids don't know how to fight on their back. Ain't going to know how to fight on their back. And that's when it's over. Anybody knows how to fight on their back or go fight ground fighting, they're going to win every time.
Do you follow MMA at all, Ray? Like,
I'm a fan of MMA. Yeah.
Do you ever think that because of how popular it is these days and the way it kind of has crossed, do you think that seeing how much you fell in love with it, doing it for over a decade, do you think, like, man, another day and age, I maybe would have gone into that field, or do you think it always would have been boxing? I
like to think I'd always probably been a fighter because of my father. But if my father wasn't a fighter and I want to try, maybe. You never know. At 18, you think you could take on the world, right? And these guys, man, they're, like I said, terrific athletes. You got a terrific fighter, you know, Masvidal down there. He just got beat. But this kid, I love this guy. I love Jorge Masvidal. And he'll be back. And he'll be a champion again. I love this guy. So, but yeah, who knows? You know what I mean? I like to think, yeah, maybe I would have tried it. But because I wanted to be my father, I wanted to win that title for my father, I think I just stick with boxing, you know.
Absolutely. But one more before we get you out of here. The heavyweight division, they're in a bit of a standoff right now for Monster Cyphies and whatnot, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. How do you see that fight going, right? Like, do you think that Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua, or do you think that's a closer matchup than him versus Wilder? What do you think of the heavyweight division?
I think Tyson Fury is a big guy who can move. I don't think he's a great fighter. He's a big guy who can move. Joshua was more of a stylist. But if he gets caught, because Fury punches okay, pretty good. But I think if he catches Joshua, we'll see. I think Joshua would beat Fury but just styles. I think he's more of a stylist, and I think he'd be he's throwing straight punches. I love Andy Ruiz. Now the debacle he did against Joshua in the second fight, that's just, we all know what happened there. But Chris Arreola is tough as they get. I think Andy Ruiz, with a new sense of urgency, I think he goes in and beats Joshua the third time, and I think he would beat Fury also.
Really?
Andy Ruiz, hand speed, man. There ain't been hand speed like this since Tyson.
How did you like how he adjusted in that fight? Because obviously he started that fight first of all, he came in fantastic shape, which was awesome to see with him. But the way he got off the canvas early in that fight, and felt like he really just made some smart adjustments and turned it into a runaway. How did you thought that he performed in that fight this weekend?
I agree with what you just said. He's with a new trainer now, smart guy, Eddie Reynoso, good trainer, trains Canelo, and Andy Ruiz is listening now, because he had a guy before, it was his friend or whatever. He wasn't listening. Now he's listening. He knew he got embarrassed. Now he's listening. I liked what I saw against Andy Ruiz. I tell you, Andy Ruiz is going to be a headache for anybody in there. Tyson Fury, it would be, a fight of styles. But I like Andy Ruiz, man, because he's as tough as they come, and he's determined now. And I think he beats them all. I think he beats everybody. Fury and him would be interesting because if Fury is a big, strong guy. I think Joshua and Fury is going to be the fight. I really think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm picking Joshua again only because he throws straight punches, where Fury is everything's wide. Punches, guys coming down the middle are going to be more effective. But if Fury catches Joshua, we'll see what his chin is like. Because Andy can punch. Don't get me wrong. Andy can punch. And I'm not so sure Joshua was the best shape for that first fight. So, But nobody punched hard Deontay Wilder, and Fury got up twice from that. So.
True. Ray Mancini, can you tell us again, One With Life Organic Tequila? Tell our listeners how they can get it, how they can, and why you love it.
One With Life. It's organic, and I'm telling you, if you're a tequila drinker, you're going to love this. This is the champ of the tequilas. I'm telling you. You can get it online at onewithlifetequila.com. But also, I understand down, what's the store? Total stores? The stores down there?
Total Wine?
Yeah, I understand it's in the Total Wine stores also.
Awesome.
So you can get it now in the Total Wine stores or online at onewithlifetequila.com.
Well, thank you. This was a real thrill. Champ,
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna come down your way tomorrow. I'll be down there tomorrow.
Awesome. Well,
I'll be in Miami tomorrow, so I can't wait.
All right. Well, welcome on down to our city. Looking forward to it. And hope you can make it down here for the Lopez Kambosos fight.
I hope so too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, champ. Take care.